All right, YouTube, it's game day as Auburn is going to be taking on the Florida Gators down in Gainesville, Florida. It's homecoming for the Gators. Once you hear the content, go ahead and like this video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. Each Saturday, we talk about some keys to victory for the Auburn Tigers, as we've talked about kind of sort of off and on throughout the week. Of course, Florida's got some guys coming back, including Jabari Zuniga and CJ Henderson, who we think could be a all-SEC, maybe all-American cornerback. He has great instincts and speed at the cornerback position. He's also a guy who transitioned from, I think, running back to cornerback. And just like for Auburn with Noah Igbenogany, CJ Henderson has been a wonderful conversion, so to speak, position-wise. Auburn going into this game as the number 17 in the country, Florida at number 10. In some ways, the jury is still out on both of these particular football teams. One thing we do know is both teams have very, very good defenses. To what extent and how good they are we'll find it out in this particular game. My speculation as far as the defense goes is that Auburn is just a little bit deeper. Auburn has a little bit more experience collectively across the board. I want to go and say that Auburn is a little bit more athletic at the defensive position. Now, I do see in spots where Florida does cause a lot of disruption, but from what I've seen of them, they do have some issues with tackling in space. And that's something that I think Auburn will have an advantage, because they tackle very, very well in space, and it's almost frustrating, especially when you have a play that's dialed up, say a screen pass where you think everything is, out of balance and you may hit for a big play. You have a guy like Javaris Davis who will come up and make the tackle one-on-one. Very rarely this year have you seen Auburn miss tackles. So let's get to the keys to this football game and how Auburn will be successful, or how can they be successful, or what do they need to do to be successful in a game like this. Number one, going down into the swamp, you want to go ahead and make some key plays early to kind of not silence the crowd, but kind of neutralize the crowd a little bit. Let's just say if Florida gets the football first, you don't necessarily have to have a 3-and-out, but you can't let them score on the first drive, especially not a touchdown on the first drive, because that crowd is going to be unbelievably loud. So the key is to managing the first couple of drives of the football game. Get some things established. Don't allow them to make big plays to get their crowd into the game. Sure enough, don't cough the ball up or surrender a sack or something like that, or put yourself in, which goes to my next point. On offense, you definitely have to control the down and distance. With Florida's defense as aggressive as they are, they're just as aggressive as Auburn. You definitely want to avoid the 3rd and 7s and beyond. If you get in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 13, I just don't think that is a really advantageous spot for the Auburn Tigers. So definitely controlling the down and distance, and also establishing multiple running backs early. Go ahead and get that portion of the football game going. Go ahead and get the run-pass option going to get Florida kind of off balance and have them looking, because they're already positioned to where if you catch them in a bad read, you can go the distance. Saw it a little bit against Towson, saw it some against Miami. Run-pass option quarterbacks have had success, especially in the interior part of the football field against Florida. So, also on defense, your line has to be as good as advertised. They have to continue to dominate the line of scrimmage. They continue to rotate out to tire these young guys out. I think in the third quarter, you'll start to see that Auburn starts to impose their will on other teams, kind of like, your Alabamas and Georgias. And we're going to see if they're able to do that here against Florida today. Also, last but not least, Auburn's got to get some turnovers. They've been doing it, not on a high level, but doing it in some degree every game so far this year. But Auburn has to get some significant turnovers, and preferably some interceptions. That's something, because of their schemes. They run a lot of man press and all that other really aggressive type defenses. So it's really hard for them to get interceptions because they're usually not in a position to do so. But getting some huge turnovers and interceptions will be key in this particular game. And I think Auburn will have a pretty decent outing in Florida. But you got to silence that crowd. You got to get a balanced offense going. And you can't get Bo Nix rattled. I think he's starting to settle in with each game. Texas A&M, he started to settle in a little bit. Missed a few. But Mississippi State, things really started to click for him. And we'll see if that continues against the number 10 Florida Gators, who have one of the best defenses in the country. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. Talking Auburn football. Is great to be an Auburn Tiger or Eagle.